Hi everyone, it's Rax and welcome to the complete Necro set dungeon guide. I think out of all the classes, Necro probably has it the easiest. All of their set dungeons are actually kind of fun to do and won't be challenging at all, so let's go through and get them all down. First, let's look at the Rathma set dungeon, and this one is extremely easy. The first objective is we need to reduce the cooldown of Army of the Dead by 500 seconds. With all the cooldown we have, it's not going to be a problem at all. And the other objective is to summon 100 skeletal mages, also going to be extremely easy. So we will take the full Rathma set for the set dungeon. We'll take the helmet, the shoulders, the gloves, the chest, the pants. With Ring of Royal Grandeur in the cube, we'll complete our set. The two-piece, our minions have a chance to reduce the cooldown of Army of the Dead by 1 second every time they attack. Helps us with the first objective. The 4 pieces, we're going to get damage reduction every time our minions attack. That's nice. And the 6-piece, each active skeletal mage increases the damage of our minions and Army of the Dead by up to 4,000%. So the name of the game here, like with every other set dungeon, is just to take attack speed, cooldown reduction, and resource cost and stack it everywhere, and it makes the set dungeon quite easy. Because of that, we'll take Ingeom in the main hand for the massive cooldown reduction when we kill elites. Take a lost time in the offhand to make us move faster. It's not necessary, but it's nice when we use our cold skeletal mages. It's going to make us zip along. We will craft the boots and belt of Captain Crimson's at the blacksmith. It's going to give us a lot of cooldown and resource cost. Obsidian Ring of the Zodiac will help us with our cooldowns as well. And we'll take a Zay's Stone to deal a little bit of additional damage. Circle of Neluja's Evil is going to help us raise additional skeletal mage to get that objective down. And they're going to last an additional 4 seconds. Here I'd take Wreath of Lightning just so you can move faster. But you don't have to. You could take really any gem that you want. You could take a survivability gem or Bane of the Trap for more damage. It's whatever you want to use. Haunted Visions is nice because it's going to let our sims last forever. So that's the amulet of choice if we can find it for this set dungeon. And you can really use whatever bracers you want. I threw on Prowlers here because it's going to give us 7% additional attack speed and give us an additional primary stat. For the skills, we'll take Simulacrum. It's going to duplicate our secondary skills for us because it's going to give us some more mages. And Blood and Bone is going to give us an extra sim, and with Haunted Visions, they're going to last forever. Devouring Aura is our only way to regenerate essence, but it's all we need. We will cast Land, and with Devouring Aura, it's just going to gobble up all the essence, and we can just keep shooting mages everywhere. Just run over the corpses of your enemies, and you can just keep summoning mages till the cows come home. Blood Rush Metabolism is so we can move around. Army of the Dead casts this every time that it's up. I went with no rune, doesn't matter. We're not using Army of the Dead to deal any damage. We just need it to keep resetting its cooldown. So just activate it every time it's up. Land of the Dead Frozen Lands, activate this in the beginning and every time it's up. This with Devouring Aura will give you infinite essence to keep summoning mages, which is another thing that you need to do all the time. Run and summon mages everywhere until you've got 100 of them summoned. Final Service so we can cheat death. Blood is Power for more cooldown. Extended Servitude so our mages stay up longer. And Fueled by Death is going to let us move faster when we devour. Messersmiths in the cube is going to give us more cooldown. Stewart's Greaves is going to let us move faster. And Ring of Royal Grandeur completes our Rathma set and our Captain Crimson's. One final note I will mention, if you're struggling somehow with this set dungeon, with this current setup, what you can do is nerf your damage a bit. If you nerf your damage, then the 2-piece for the Rathma set is going to give your mages more chances to reset the Army of the Dead more and more. But you'll see in the footage, I complete that objective almost instantly as it is. Let me take you into the footage and show you how to get this down. To reach the Rathma set dungeon, take the Temple of the Firstborn waypoint in Act 2, go backwards through the Sacred Path, and at the end you will find it there. Well, this one couldn't possibly be easier, and I even had an inferior setup for this. It's very simple. Every time Land of the Dead is up, use it, and just spam mages everywhere, and run over the corpses of everything that you kill, And you can see you're just going to destroy everything. So I don't have the easy stuff with the Simulacrum or with the Circle of Nelusis Evil to summon extra mages. So I'm going to have to summon them one at a time to get all 100, so it will be way easier on you. And you can see just like that, I've already completed the Army of the Dead achievement, or the objective. It was literally that easy. I'm just running around, spraying mages everywhere I possibly can, and using Land of the Dead every time that it's up. And then all you do is very slowly walk around and kill everything in the dungeon. And that's all that you have to do. It's kind of interesting that Necro set dungeons came out, I believe, after every other class's set dungeons, but somehow they're by far the easiest. You will not have any trouble getting any of these down. So all that's left is to mow down all the rest of the monsters. And if you use the build guide that I showed you, it's going to be so much easier on you than it was on me. Because when you have the Sims, it's going to be a joke. Anyway, we're just wrapping it up here. Got 39 more monsters to go. With all of the mages that we have, it won't be a problem. You don't even have to aim them because the archers will just automatically shoot everything dead. All I have to say to this dungeon is sayonara. Now let's move to the Inarius set dungeon, which is also insanely easy. The first thing that we need to do is hit 100 enemies with our bone armor. No problem. And then we have to kill 200 enemies with our bone nado, our bone tornado that comes from our 6-piece of Inarius. Not going to be a problem either. So for the Inarius set dungeon, we need the full Inarius set. We'll take the helmet, the shoulders, the gloves, the chest, the pants with Ring of Royal Grandeur in the cube will complete our set. The 2-piece bone armor damage is increased by 1,000%. The 4-piece bone armor grants an additional 3% damage reduction per enemy hit. And the 6-piece gives us a bone nado, which does 1,000% weapon damage and increases the damage that they take from the Necromancer by 10,000%. Name of the game here is the same as every other set dungeon. Just take cooldown and resource cost and attack speed. Really all we're going to do is run around and cast bone armor and let our bone nado kill everything. The only real danger here is if you have so much damage that your bone nado just kills everything before you can bone armor, that could be the only problem with you not having 100 enemies left. As long as you're not that strong, you should be good, so you might need to tone down your damage just a bit. Take Ingiam in the main hand so we can reset our cooldowns so we can keep casting our bone armor. Lost time is very nice because when we use a cold skill, which is bone armor and land and our mages, we're going to be able to move very fast. We'll craft Captain Crimson's boots and belt at the blacksmith. It's going to give us more cooldown and more resource cost reduction. Obsidian Ring of the Zodiac is going to help us reset our cooldowns. We'll take Bane of the Trapped for more damage. Prisbin Sentence is very nice. It's a lot more damage. And you can take Wreath of Lightning to move faster. Or you can use any other gem here. It really doesn't make a huge difference, whatever you want to use. Flavor of Time, again, you can use whatever amulet you want. I like Flavor of Time because it has 4 stats and it comes with the cooldown automatically. And we'll take Gogok of Swiftness for the additional attack speed and cooldown. The bracers don't matter here either. You can use whatever you want. It doesn't matter. I went with Prowlers because they have 5 stats and it gives us a little bit of extra attack speed. I'd go with Frailty or a Frailty so we have a curse and it's just going to help you kill the monsters a little bit easier. Devouring Aura is going to gobble up all of the enemies and give you your essence back. Blood Rush is to move around easy. Bone Armor, we obviously need this to make this work. I like Harvest of Anguish because it's a cold skill that activates our lost time, and it just lets us move faster. Land of the Dead Frozen Lands, I would only use this after you've completed your objective with the Bone Tornadoes. When you use Land of the Dead, you're going to have infinite essence to cast. Skeletal Mage, Skeletal Archer, those will mow everything down for you once you've completed your other objectives. This needs to be Final Service because we're not using a scythe, so we can cheat death. Blood is Power is going to give us additional cooldown. Extended Servitude is going to let our mages stay alive a little bit longer when we summon them. And Fueled by Death is going to let us move faster. Messerschmitt's in the cube is going to give us cooldown whenever we kill enemies. Stewart's Greaves is going to let us move faster. And a Ring of Royal Grandeur is going to complete our Inarius and our Captain Crimson sets. Let me take you into the clear and show you how easy this one is. To find the Grace of Inarius set, take the Drowned Temple waypoint in Act 1, walk into the Drowned Temple, and you will see it. This one couldn't possibly be easier, guys. Run up to enemies, activate your bone armor, and just let your bone NATO just destroy everything. Run forward to another pack of monsters and use bone armor again. Over and over and over until you've got 100 enemies that you've ripped bones from. See, I nerfed my damage pretty hard here, so you could be a little bit stronger than I was. And you can see the bone NATO would have no problem just killing everything on its own. You don't really even need to summon the archers if you don't want to. But once I finally start to get close to 100 enemies ripped their bones out, right there, then I start to summon some archers here and there just to help me get the enemies down. And then you can, of course, whenever you need to, activate Land of the Dead to freeze them, which will proc your Crisbins, and it will give you infinite essence to keep summoning archers. But this one is really not too bad, guys. You just run around in bone armor everywhere, and everything's going to die. As I mentioned in the instructions, the only thing that you could possibly do wrong here or somehow fail this dungeon with is if your bone NATO is so strong that it just instantly vaporizes everything. You might have a hard time getting 100 bone armor stacks throughout the rift. So just make sure you're not that strong. Make sure you're not putting in 3,000 Paragon points in or something like that. But anything other than that should work very easily. Now let's look at the Pestilence set dungeon guide, which is another very easy one. The first thing we need to do is kill 150 enemies with an empowered bone spear. We'll get into how to empower them in a second, but that won't be a problem. And the second objective is to take less than 400,000 damage in the entire run. This will be very easy with Molten Wildebeest Gizzard Legendary Gem. It'll give us a shield, and we'll be very tanky. Of course, we need the full Pestilence set. We'll take the helmet, the shoulders, the gloves, the chest, the pants with Ring of Royal Grandeur in the cube will complete our set. The 2-piece, every time we consume a corpse, it's going to fire a corpse lance at a nearby enemy. We'll get back to this in a second. The 4-piece, when we hit with Bone Spear, it's going to give us more damage reduction. That's good. And the 6-piece, when we consume a corpse, we get an empowered Bone Spear. It does 3,300% more damage. So that's how we get our empowered stacks to complete that objective. So now let's think about this for a second. When we consume a corpse, we get the empowered Bone Spear, and then we can throw a Bone Spear and complete that objective. Fine. But also, when we consume a corpse from the 2-piece, it throws a Corpse Lance. What that means is, if we spam Devour all the time, it's going to throw Corpse Lances everywhere and potentially kill all the enemies. And then we can't complete our objective because we can't hit them with a Bone Spear if they already died to the Corpse Lances. But it also means if we never Devour, then we can never get the charges to throw the empowered Bone Spears. So the solution is, instead of spamming Devour or never using Devour, you want to use Devour with a certain rhythm. Devour and then Bone Spear. Devour and then Bone Spear. And you keep doing that until you have the 150 enemies killed with the empowered Bone Spears, and then you can spam Devour and let the Corpse Lances destroy everything. So just keep that in mind. Everything else about this is exactly like every other set dungeon. We'll take massive attack speed, cooldown, and resource cost everywhere, and everything's going to be very easy. So we will take Ingeom in our main hand to just reset our cooldowns every time we kill an elite. Lost time is nice because when we use a cold skill, in particular Bone Armor, Harvest of Anguish, we're going to move faster. We will craft Captain Crimson's boots and belt at the blacksmith. It'll give us massive cooldown reduction and resource cost. Obsidian Ring of the Zodiac is nice because it's going to reset our cooldowns. I'd go with Bane of the Trapped here to deal more damage, but if you want to be tankier, you could take a survivability gem like Esoteric. Crispin's Sentence is nice for extra damage. We'll take the Molten Wildebeest Gizzard for an Shields, which is strongly recommended. And if you're going to level something up for this set dungeon, level up the Wildebeest Gizzard for a bigger shield. Flavor of Time is a nice to have, but you can use whatever you want. I like Flavor because it has 4 primary stats, and it always comes with cooldown. And we'll go with Gogok of Swiftness for the attack speed and the cooldown. And for the Bracer slot, I went with Prowlers because it has 5 stats and it has attack speed, but you can use whatever you want. So you might be asking yourself, well, why don't you use Gelman Doors, which makes your Bone Spears hit harder from your Simulacrums, and why didn't you take Haunted Visions with the Sims to make it even easier like everyone's doing on the normal Bone Spear build? Well, the honest answer is I don't know if the Simulacrum hits count for the objective or not. I did not test it. And also, I am absolutely certain that you do not need the extra damage to do it anyway. So I didn't want to put it in the guide and have it be wrong, but you don't need it anyway. So if you want to try something for science, go ahead and throw on the Haunted Visions and the Gelman Doors and the Sim, and go ahead and give it a try and let me know your results. But no matter what, you do not need that to complete the set dungeon. All you need to do is not spam Devour and use it sparingly and throw the Bone Spears, and it will be plenty strong enough to kill everything anyway. For the skills, Frailty, Aura of Frailty is very nice. It's going to help us kill everything a little bit easier. Devour Voracious, I like Voracious because it reduces the essence cost, so you can keep throwing Bone Spears till the cows come home. Remember, tap Devour every once in a while. Don't spam it in the beginning until you have the 150 kills. Blood Rush lets you move around very easily. Bone Armor is nice because it will help you survive, and it will let you move faster, and it will activate your lost time. Land of the Dead is nice both as a defensive thing to freeze the enemies. It's also nice to give you infinite essence to throw your Bone Spears, and it also procs your Crispin's Sentence. And Bone Spear, you can use either the Shatter Rune, which is what I prefer because it throws these huge explosions, or you could do Teeth as well. Standalone gives us more armor to not take 400,000 damage. Blood is Power gives us more cooldown. Overwhelming Essence just gives us a bit more essence to keep throwing the Bone Spears. And Fueled by Death lets us move faster. Altorius is going to make Bone Spear cost more essence, but it's going to give it a 700% multiplier, which is amazing. Stewart's Greaves are going to let us move faster after we Blood Rush. And Ring of Royal Grandeur will complete our Pesty set as well as the Captain Crimson set. Let me take you into the footage and show you how to get this one down. To find the Pestilence set dungeon, port to the Keep Depths level 3 in Act 3. Run right before Gom and you'll see it on the right side. So all you want to do here is tap Devour to get the empowered Bone Spears, and then throw Bone Spears. That's literally it. People debate which one's better, Shatter or Teeth. I like Shatter a lot because watch me just run around and throw these bombs. Boom. I don't know. You can try whichever one you want. Either of them are going to be great. But I like Shatter here. Make sure to try not to get hit by the enemies. With your Molten Wildebeest Gizzard, it should give you tons and tons of shielding. So hopefully you really won't take barely any damage the entire time. And already I have 134 of the Bone Spears thrown. And then once you have all of that, you can go ahead and spam Devour for the rest of the set dungeon and get the extra Corpse Lances. So you can see now I'm just mashing 2 crazily as I run around. And actually there's only 30 monsters left. Man, this one is super easy as long as you don't mash Devour at the beginning and you don't take any damage. Alright everyone, let's look at Trag'Oul's set dungeon, which is another one that's extremely easy. The 2 objectives are we need to heal ourselves for 1000% of our life with our abilities, and we need to use 1000% of our life from our abilities. So we're going to heal ourselves with Devour Cannibalize, and we're also going to heal ourselves with Blood Rush Transfusion. So we're going to Blood Rush through enemies and Devour all the time. and that will take care of the healing component. And then for the spending component, we'll spend Bone Armor, Thy Flesh Sustained. Every time it's going to cost 20% health. And Death Nova, Blood Nova will cost an additional 10% to kill everything. That's all we need to do. It's going to be really easy. Trag'Ouls will need the full set because it's a set dungeon. We'll take the helmet, the shoulders, the gloves, the chest, the pants with Ring of Royal Grandeur and the cube. We'll have the full set. The 2-piece Blood Rush gets every rune. The 4-piece, while we're at full life, our healing from our skills is added to our maximum life for 45 seconds, up to 100% more. And the 6-piece is our life spending abilities deal a lot more damage, and our healing from skills is increased by 100%. So like with every single set dungeon, all we're going to do is take massive attack speed, cooldown, and resource cost to spam our abilities, and it's going to be very easy. Ingeom we'll take whenever we kill elites to reset all of our cooldowns. Lost time is nice because it's going to give us a slight movement speed increase. Unfortunately, all we have really here for cold skills is frozen lands, so we'll move a bit faster when we land of the dead, but it's better than nothing. But if you can't find a lost time, don't worry about it. Take whatever you can find. Captain Crimson's will craft the boots and the belt at the blacksmith. It'll give us more cooldown reduction and more resource cost reduction. Obsidian Ring is nice to reset our cooldowns. We'll take Bane of the Trap for more damage. Prisman's Sentence is nice for, again, more damage. You can take whatever legendary gem you want here. I took Wreath of Lightning just so I could move faster. You can use any amulet that you want. I like Flavor of Time because it has 4 stats and it automatically comes with cooldown. We'll take Gogok here for the increased attack speed and cooldown. Lacuni Prowlers, you can use whatever bracers you want. I like Prowlers because they have 5 stats and we're going to get some attack speed on there. Frailty Aura. Frailty is nice. It'll give us a curse in a big area and it's going to let us kill the monsters a little bit easier. Devour, Cannibalize, we'll take this and spam it all the time to take care of the healing component of the objective of the set dungeon. And we'll also spam it all the time so we can cast Death Nova as much as possible. Blood Rush, we'll spam this all the time and Blood Rush through enemies to make sure that you get the healing objective done for the set dungeon. Bone Armor, Thy Flesh Sustain, you can spam this as much as you want because we need to spend 1000% of our health, so just use this all the time. Land of the Dead, you can use this every time that it's up. It's going to freeze the enemies and activate your Crisbins, and it's also going to make you run faster with your lost time. Death Nova, Blood Nova, this is what's going to kill everything. You can spam it all the time. And if you get toward the end and you haven't spent 1000% of your life yet, you can just stand there and just spam Death Nova as long as you possibly can to get that objective complete before killing the last monsters. Standalone is going to give us a big survivability increase. Blood is Power is going to give us more cooldown. Overwhelming Essence is going to give us more essence to keep casting Death Nova. And Fueled by Death is going to make us run faster. Blood-Tide Blade is going to make Death Nova hit way harder. Steward's Greaves is nice because we're going to move a lot faster after we Blood Rush. And Ring of Royal Grandeur will complete our Trag'Ouls and Captain Crimson sets. Let me take you into the clear and show you how easy this one is. To get to the Trag'Oul set dungeon, take the upper realm of Cursed Fate waypoint in Act 4, walk down the stairs, take a left, walk a little bit further, and you will find the portal there. So here, it's very easy. Spam Devour all the time. Unfortunately, here I was using Aura. I should have been using Cannibalize. Would have made it way easier on me. And I have no idea why I'm using Bone Spear, so definitely use the build that I showed you in my guide, not the potato build I'm using here. But just Blood Rush through enemies, spam Devour, and just Death Nova all the time. You can also be spamming Land as well. Not really sure why I'm not using that. It would have made me move faster. But honestly, this set dungeon is so easy, I pretty much just one-shot it on my first attempt ever. So you can have the total wrong build with totally wrong skills and totally wrong gear and still destroy it. So Anyway, it's no big deal. What I would recommend at the start, as I did, go to the left and do a little loop around that way. And then we'll head to the right and finish off everything. There went all of the healing, nice and easy. And I don't even have the bone armor. That would have made it way easier. Holy cow, this set dungeon must be easy. I beat it with literally the worst stuff. You could see I stopped there to spam a little bit of Death Nova, just to spend a little bit more of my life. I didn't want to run out of enemies. But this one is so easy, guys. If you're spamming Devour, if you're spamming the Death Nova, and you're spamming your Bone Armor and your Land of the Dead, just vomiting all of your skills, it's really impossible to fail this one. The Necro set dungeons have to be the easiest pound for any of the classes. Got 14 monsters left. Hopefully they're in this last little cubby. And sayonara.